Welcome back to the Early Show, everyone. Have you seen those big green check marks on some products at the grocery store these days? Well, they're part of a new food labeling campaign called Smart Choices, which is supposed to help shoppers identify healthier foods and beverages. But critics say these labels are misleading. Here to help us sort things out is registered dietitian Keri Glassman. Keri, good to see you.
Nice to see you, Jeff.
Thanks for coming in this morning. Let's talk about what a smart choice is. How do they define this?
Okay, well, the Smart Choices program is a front-of-pack labeling program designed to help consumers make better choices. It was designed by a group called the Keystone Group, a nonprofit group, and then was passed off to the American Society for Nutrition. So,
okay, so it's gone through a number of different groups,
exactly.
And it's gotten confusing along the way.
Exactly, and the Keystone Group facilitated conversations between scientists, consumer organizations, as well as the food industry. So the criteria also, they took into account the U.S. dietary guidelines.
But we see a lot of products here that are quite sugary, and that some might consider junk food or snack food for kids, yet they still have the check mark on them. How does that happen?
Okay, well, the criteria, this is how the criteria worked. What happened was foods were categorized into 19 different food categories, and then they had to focus on nutrients to limit. Now, all the different food categories have to meet those nutrients to limit. Then they have to, for each of the different 19 categories, they have to meet certain nutrients to encourage or food groups to encourage. But for all these different categories, the different 19 categories, so for example, snacks have different requirements than cereals. So there's a lot of different information out there.
Yeah, it sounds like there was quite a bit of government involvement here. Okay, so cornflakes, for example.
Okay.
Cornflakes gets the check mark. Why?
Cornflakes gets the check mark because, as I just mentioned, all of these food categories have to meet the nutrients to limit. So in the nutrients to limit category for cereal, we have to limit total fat, saturated fat, trans fat, sodium, and sugar. So for example, with cereal, there has to be less than 35% of the calories from fat. With cornflakes, we see that there are 0 grams of fat. So clearly that makes the grade.
We see some things on here, though, that are pretty sugary. There's some syrup. We also have Fruit Loops on here, which also gets the check mark, which some people might wonder why.
Well, this is where the program is taking a little bit of heat. For example, Fruit Loops meets all of those nutrients to limit, as I just discussed with the cornflakes. However, it does have 12 grams of sugar. Now, an exception was made in the cereal category, where for most other food categories, there cannot be more than 25% of the calories from sugar. In this category, the cereal category, when there is 12 grams, so with Frosted Flakes, Fruit Loops, there's going to be about 40% of the calories from sugar. Now, they're arguing this, saying that, for some people, going for a donut that has more fat and more sugar, Fruit Loops is a better choice because of the nutrients. But we know, obviously, there are much better choices out there.
It sounds like, unless you are a registered dietitian, you might be very confused by all this. What's the bottom line?
The bottom line is, if this check mark guides you to the box, you can't take any shortcuts. You still need to read the nutrition facts panel, read the ingredient list, and remember, the best foods out there, whole foods, don't come in packages, so you won't see the green check mark. So don't forget those foods.
Sounds like some good advice, Keri Glassman. Thank you very much, Keri.
You're welcome.
For more smart choices, you can go to our website, earlyshow.cbsnews.com.